To be honest, everybody, I am absolutely blown away and floored by the performance of this stove, but in a bad way. I've never actually seen anything quite like this before. Waiting over 5.5 minutes for 2 cups of water, that's crazy. Sometime back, my friends, my wife Susie filmed an adventure here at Lone Wolf Mountain where she had her jet boil stove with her. In that episode, she spoke of the issues that she had with it. In fact, she stated that she's begun to actually hate that stove, even though it does have some features that are quite impressive. Additionally, in that episode, she asked you all for suggestions in regards to a knockoff stove that performs just as good but costs quite a bit less. Without a doubt, there was a ton of feedback from you all, with the majority of the users out there stating that we should get in the jet boil knockoff from FireMaple. This is called the Star X2 cooking system. I personally have not heard of this before, but it does look to be a very close competitor to jet boil. This is interesting, folks. On the FireMaple website, the company oftentimes refers to this as the fixed star stove. Interesting. Maybe at some point in time they decided to change the name of this product. I don't know. Anyways, her Minimo stove costs $170. This stove here costs $57. There's over a $100 difference between the two stoves. While this is not a review, I can tell you all that I'm very impressed with what you get for the money. I have opened this up, I've taken a look at it, and again, it is impressive. For only $57, not only do you get the pot, the stove, but you also can customize the stove itself. You'll see what I'm talking about here in just a minute. Everybody, this is a first look at the Star X2 system from FireMaple. Let's get started. My friends, if you decide to purchase the X2 system, this is what you're going to receive. You receive an additional cover for the stove itself for the pot so you can change the looks of it. You receive an instruction booklet. Then you have the stove system. With the kit here, it includes a mesh storage bag. And this is large enough to basically cover the entire kit. What we have here is a burner plate that goes on this stove. Let's say that you don't want to use the pot, but you want to use the stove with something that doesn't connect to the stove. That is what this allows you to do. You could put a pot on top of it instead of connecting it to the stove itself. This here is a fuel stand support. Basically, you put your canister on top of this, it latches into place, and it makes your stove more stable. This is the pot itself. We have a foldable, lockable handle. We have a lid with a silicone grab tab up at the top. Gas canister. Basically, I just wanted to show you all that this fits inside of this kit here. There's enough space inside of this. On the inside, we have the stove. Here we have the adjuster, over here we have the igniter, and going back to the pot itself, we do have measurements on the inside. With the handle here, it is coated in plastic. And then, my friends, we have this cover that goes over the pot. Now, this cover is green. This cover here is a brown, orangey, khaki, camo sort of color. The cool thing is about these covers, you can actually turn these inside out and you can go solid black if you want to. On this side of the pot, you could see this wire with this little ball on the top. That is for locking this system together. So let's say that you take your lid, you put it on top, you put the handle over, and then it locks into place just like this. Basically, that little wire connects to the handle and the ball prevents it from coming loose. Something else that I want you all to focus on is the bottom of the pot here. This features a heat spreader. In addition to that, you have the pot support that basically connects to the stove itself, and that acts as a wind screen. You do have holes for oxygen, but below that and behind that, you have the heat spreader. Just in case you do not know what a heat spreader is, think of it like this. When the stove is running, basically you have the flame from the stove coming into contact with these fins, and these fins spread the heat around evenly. While I'm looking at the bottom of the pot, namely with the heat spreaders seem very thin, and also they're very short. They do not extend out towards the center of the pot. So I have to question whether or not the performance of the stove is going to be that good. Typically when it comes to a heat spreader, it's closer to the heat, so it can absorb the heat and spread it around. But if you have the heat spreader too far away, generally the performance isn't that good. With the FireMaple stove, this is very similar to the Flash stove from Jetboil. That's the model that I find that is the closest to this one. But do know this, Jetboil offers a ton of different models and I'm not familiar with all of them. Anyways, this stove runs on ISO-Butane. ISO-Butane only. The company does not recommend propane for this stove. Attaching the pot to the stove itself is very simple. You just put it in and turn it, and that locks it into place. Before I touch upon the time it took to boil half a liter of water, let's go over some stats real quick. The company claims this stove features a BTU rating of 7,500. It runs on ISO-Butane, and propane is not recommended by the company. When it comes to the dimensions with the stove stored, it is 8 inches tall and roughly 5 inches wide. When the stove is fully set up, it will stand 10 inches above your gas canister. With the pot and the handle extended, we're looking at 10 inches wide. The weight of the full kit is 1.3 pounds. As far as the materials go, you're looking at aluminum, stainless steel, silicone, and copper, along with some plastic. This is available in 3 primary colors, black, red, and green, but there are also some camo colors. The retail price of this system is $70, but at the time of filming, it's on sale for $57. And it should be mentioned there are numerous versions of this kit, including an X1, this is the X2, there is also an X3. In other words, some have more capacity, some have less. The company also has kits that include lanterns, and some even include cutlery. Going back to the boil times and the BTUs, the company claims 7,500 BTUs. They also claim this stove can boil half a liter of water in 1 minute and 42 seconds. My friends, we did not get even remotely close to that figure. 4 minutes and 44 seconds. With the jet boil flash, which is very similar in terms of BTUs and also pot size, this is a 1 liter, and so is the Jet Boil. Jet Boil claims they can boil half a liter of water in 1.6 minutes. I'm sure you're wondering why there's a discrepancy between what the company says and what our findings are. And that's because what the company claims are basically laboratory results. We're talking about perfect conditions, folks. When you head out for your adventure into the real world, your results are going to be completely different. Anytime I see a company make a claim about how fast their stove is, I take that number and I say to myself, bull, because it's always nonsense. In the real world, I was able to boil half a liter of water in 4.4 minutes. We have the burner head here, the igniter here, we have air holes in the bottom, and we also have a windscreen that goes around the burner head. Let's go ahead and let's put a kettle on top of this, and let's use the pot supports. With the optional pot support stand, the way that it connects basically to the stove itself is interesting. The legs, the supports, they fold out. From there, they go over the windscreen, basically locking this into place. Let's do a quick boil test. Here we go, everybody. Check this out, everybody. Inside of the kettle, I put 16 ounces of water. At 5 minutes and 34 seconds, I turned off the timer and I stopped the stove. And that's because I'm tired of waiting. The temps are in the 50s right now, so the fuel's not cold. You can hear that the performance is good. The problem here is that with this pot support optional stand, it has your pot sitting too far away from the burner head. So yes, the heat is hitting the bottom of the kettle, but most of that heat is just dissipating. The burner head and the pot itself are too far away from each other, and that's why we're looking at these incredibly long boil times. I mean, I don't know how long that would have taken. 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes, I don't know. But I can tell you this is ridiculous. After testing out numerous FireMaple products, the one thing that keeps coming back to me is that it feels like these products are untested. Over and over and over again, I'm finding these mistakes in the designs that shouldn't be there. They're focusing more on the appearances of these products and keeping the prices low while not really thinking through the product itself. I have tested out numerous FireMaple products, and for the most part, I've had issues with every single one. Already in this episode, I've been going over my impressions of this stove, so let's continue that trend. As far as the quality goes, the stove itself looks great, and so does the pot. The overall looks of this product is very nice, but the looks of the product mean absolutely nothing. It's all about the performance. And unfortunately, the performance of this system is very lacking. Everything here does look to be well made. There's no issues with sharp edges, nothing like that. As far as the features go with this system, it has basically everything that you would want with a stove setup like this. The problem is that the company did not thoroughly test this product, and you have some serious issues here. As far as the additionals that you get, you do receive quite a bit. The fact that you receive extra covers, you can change this, you can customize the look, that is sweet. The capacity of this pot is very good at 1 liter. The adjuster, nice. The igniter, it works every single time. With the lid, you have a vent hole. The grab tab is good. The handle in the pot is good. It locks into place. To be completely honest with you all coming into this video here, I figured that the performance of the stove wouldn't be as good as the jet boil, but the jet boil is much more expensive. I figured by the end of this episode, I'd be able to show you all how you can save some money. You can get a discount knockoff product and the performance was good enough. But folks, that is simply not the case. With the jet boils that I own, with the jet boils that I've used from friends, I can tell you all that the performance of this stove is nowhere even remotely close to that of the jet boil. The jet boil is a true rocket, whereas this stove, it is certainly not. Again, everybody, I do want to touch upon the conditions today. We're looking at temps around 55 degrees, so it's not that cold. The air is almost still, there's virtually no breeze at all. But yet, this stove is performing extremely poorly. If you plan to use this stove only with the pot that was included, you can make this work. But if you plan to use additional pots, cups, kettles, and so on, I would say absolutely forget about it. And that, my friends, is why we test out the products like we do here at the Outdoor Gear Review. The channel is 100% agenda-free, so I can say it how it is. And I'm going to. In my personal opinion, after testing out the X2, I would stay far away from all of the FireMaple stoves. At least those that make up the X system, the X1, X2, and X3. In the future, I will have a follow-up concerning this product. I'm not done testing this out. This is just the first episode. I'm going to test it out in adverse situations and conditions, and I'm going to talk with the company about this stove. Maybe there's a defect here, because the overall stove itself doesn't feel like it's actually hitting on all cylinders, as the saying goes. If you happen to have one of these FireMaple stoves, please comment down below and share your thoughts and experiences. If you do not own one, would you own one now after seeing this episode? I bet you would not. Until something changes, folks, or new information comes to light, I would stay far away from the stove system. This is not worth your money. Even with Susie's jet boils igniter being broken, that stove performs much, much, much better than this stove here. It's a night and day difference between these two stoves. And when it comes to being a jet boil knockoff, this is a pretty poor example. If you have found this episode helpful, hit the thumbs up. It does help a lot. Everybody, I am done. Take care, be well, strength and honor. I will see you all around soon. Also, I will be back after I talk to FireMaple about this stove and my experiences. So make sure that you're subscribed and stay tuned.